So hello guys, and welcome to another video. And recently, there was an interview from Tezuka about Super Mario Bros. Wonder that kind of caught my interest, since it kind of has to do with this new era of Mario, and something that they're kind of changing about the franchise for the better. So basically, he said that this time, they're actually putting more focus than ever into the animations because of the movie. And they expected a lot of people to kind of go into Wonder expecting to have a similar experience, and they expect Mario kind of moving in a similar way to how we did in the movie. So this is really important and really nice to see, since it seems like they care more about animations than they did before. So with the new Super Mario Bros. Series, while the games were great, and they were designed well, one thing that they kind of fell behind on was the presentation, since a lot of the games reused the same aesthetic over and over again. Then on top of that, or kind of linked with the discussion of this video, their animations mostly stayed the same in between games. Like, they kind of used the template that was originally kind of placed in New Super Mario Bros. DS, which in itself was kind of based on Super Mario 64 DS. So they basically kind of used the same animations and poses that were kind of originally created in 64 DS for quite a while. And then on top of that, a lot of the spin-offs weren't really doing anything crazy with the animations as well. Like Mario Party didn't do anything too interesting with them. Mario Sports didn't either, except maybe in Mario Golf World Tour. I mean, that's kind of the exception. But yeah, it seemed like during the Wii U and 3DS era, even during the Wii era to some degree, even though the Wii era was great and had a lot of creative games, it seemed like character expressions wasn't something they really cared about too much until the Switch. Until the Switch changed quite a lot, even before the movie. Super Mario Odyssey, Luigi's Mansion 3, Mario Strikers Battle League. It seemed like they put a lot of effort into the animations. And then now, it seems like they're putting even more effort with Super Mario Bros. Wonder, to the point where it almost seems like an animated show or movie with how the characters are kind of animated in this game. And it also kind of builds off some of the older Mario games as well, like Super Mario World. It really seems like it's kind of basing them off of the Super Mario World sprites, but kind of making them in motion to how they would kind of look if it was in like a cartoon or something. It looks very nice and just really helps the presentation of the game overall. And I think one reason why animations can be very important to the presentation sometimes is the fact that it makes the game memorable and have an identity. Looking at a game that had a lot of flaws like Mario Strikers Battle League, one thing about that game that people remembered and still remember over a year later is the expressive animations. Even though that game had a ton of issues with its content, people still remember the animations and still kind of focused on them online and kind of posted like memes and clips about them and everything. Kind of goes to show how far animations and expressive characters and poses can go. So it's really nice to see that they're focusing on that in Super Mario Bros. Wonder. It's really adding a lot to the game, because otherwise, Super Mario Bros. Wonder even still, would have been a great game, even if it had some of the same new Super Mario Bros. Animations, because the game is already extremely creative. I mean, it wouldn't have been quite as good presentation-wise, but it still would have been kind of fun. But these animations kind of put it on a whole other level. It's one of the reasons why people are comparing this game to Super Mario Bros. 3 and Super Mario World in terms of how iconic it is. So it's really going a long way. And it's really adding quite a lot to this game. So it's really nice to see that they're going in this direction. And the fact that they want and expect people playing this game, either fans or people playing the game casually, they expect people to want to see these animations. I feel like that's a good sign as well, as it seems like they're going to put a lot more effort into it, kind of going forward here. So we're going to see a lot of very creative and expressive Mario games from here on out. So we can already see that with some of the other upcoming games. Like Princess Peach Showtime, for example. Peach is pretty expressive in that game compared to her other appearances. I know she's already more expressive in Wonder, but this is kind of doing it in a different way, I would say. And then kind of like how I discussed in the past, like the last video, how they changed the key art to make Peach look more expressive. It kind of seems like they're doing that there. They're kind of making Peach look more determined and kind of capable of having more emotions. So, yeah, and I mean, I know people were kind of saying it looks a bit too much like Movie Peach, but I think it's not really the design that they're taking inspiration from Movie Peach, or the personality that they're taking from Movie Peach. It's more the expressiveness of Movie Peach, which I think is perfectly fine to translate in the games. So the movie is the most expressive the characters have ever been in any medium. Well, it's an animated movie, of course they would be. So it was really nice seeing them kind of have all of those wacky poses, really cool animations and everything in the movie. It was just really nice to see overall. So it's nice to see that they're using the movie as a basis, since I feel like that was a great template to kind of pull off of. I mean, not necessarily a template to directly copy off of, but a template to kind of be inspired from and kind of strive to kind of make games that have animations on the level of the movie. I think that's kind of a good frame point to work from, since I feel like we could get a lot of really cool and creative Mario games out of that. And another example, aside from the Princess Peach Showtime, we also have the Mario vs. Donkey Kong remake. And I mean, at first, it doesn't really seem like they're kind of making that game more expressive, but when you look at the cutscenes, it actually does look pretty expressive, and there's a lot of really cool shots that we've seen so far. Even though it's a remake of a game that people weren't necessarily wanting, I know I've been wanting it because I've been wanting a return for Donkey Kong 94 for quite a while. I know it does seem like that they are putting a lot of effort into like the cutscenes here, and even the in-game animations as well, since it does seem like there is more effort put into it. Like, when you're comparing that to the previous Mario vs. Donkey Kong games, it's just like night and day. Like, when you look at Mario vs. Donkey Kong Tipping Stars, the opening cutscene to that game is just PNGs bouncing across a screen. Which was just like, there was like barely any effort put into that. It just looked absolutely ridiculous. Comparing that to like full-on pre-rendered cutscenes, it just seems like they're putting so much effort into the newer one compared to that. So that's really nice to see. And then one final example is Paper Mario: The Thousand-Year Door. And even though that's a remake, like Mario vs. Donkey Kong, it seems like even in that game, they're kind of putting more animations and expressions from the modern Paper Mario games into the game. And one change that they kind of reverted back to, kind of making it more similar to the older Paper Mario games, is the fact that they're using layered sprites and rigged animations again, which is something that a lot of Paper Mario fans didn't expect to see. I definitely didn't expect to see that, since the animations between Color Splash and Origami King, even Sticker Star to some degree, were kind of choppy. And in Color Splash and Origami King, they were made up of separate sprites rather than, or separate sprites that would kind of switch in between different, like, animations and things, rather than different parts of a model that would kind of move and be rigged to have different animations and things. So, with the Thousand Year Door in Super Paper Mario style, that's much more expressive, and it's much less limited with what they could do, since I feel like they could really kind of get away with doing more animations than they could kind of using individual sprites kind of switching out, like Color Splash and Origami King. So I think that's another example of them kind of focusing on the kind of like the expressions and animations and things. Like, even though it's a remake, they could have easily remade Thousand Year Door with the Origami King in Color Splash style and just have like the separate sprites in the more choppy animations. They could have easily done that. So it's great to see that they're doing these more smooth and fluid animations on top of the fact that they're also kind of remaking some of the modern Paper Mario poses with that more expressive animation. So it's really nice to see that in this new era of Mario, Nintendo is caring about how expressive the characters are, which really adds to the presentation. So I'm even more excited to see what we'll see in the next few years here. So anyways, thank you guys for watching this video. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe for more, and make sure to check out my Discord server and Twitter if you want to. Goodbye.